recorded. And we do have a quorum tonight, so that's great. Cleone has to leave, unfortunately, at 6:30. We'll still have a quorum, so we should be able to continue. So is there anyone that would like to move to approve the minutes from our last meeting on March the 3rd?
I, Thomas Golden, will motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I had a question on one line, but I can't pull it up.
Okay, we can wait.
And I'm here till 7:30, Ed.
Yep.
Not 6:30.
Oh, did I say 6:30? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
There was, I can't find it now. There is I saw something that was, I can't see it now on the last email from Josh. I thought I saw something that contradicted, what was approved. Oh, that was the agenda meeting. I'm on the wrong email.
Okay.
Are you able to pull up the meeting, the minutes?
I can, yeah, I should be able to do that and share it, you mean?
Yes, please.
Okay.
They have them open if you want me to just pop it up.
What's that, Josh?
I have them open right now if you want me to bring them up.
Yeah, why don't you share it? That'd be great. Thank you.
Maybe I was dreaming, but
Do you remember whereabouts it was?
no. I just have to look at it real quick. It was something, I think, towards the bottom more. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Oh, the time, it says the motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:10 and then it was adjourned at 7:08. Is that a big,
Oh, I can change it.
that
Oh,
was
okay.
a typo. Not a huge thing. I was just, I saw that, so.
Well, it's certainly a discrepancy. So,
Yep, I will change it. No problem.
okay, so there was a motion to approve. I guess we'll need to have an retract that motion or make a motion to approve as amended.
Yeah, as it is.
Okay, is there a second?
I, Janet, second to approve the minutes with the amendment.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we'll take a roll call on this.
Ed,
Yes?
Leonie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is public comment. I don't see anyone has joined. So we will move forward then. There is no old business for tonight. So we'll jump right into new business and we'll look first at Article 9. I will share my screen. Okay, can you all see that?
Yep.
Okay, so I had sections 1 and 2. So section 1, I didn't see anything in terms of a substance that needed to be changed here. This identifies several conflicts of interest. What I did, however, was I broke the paragraph up. It was just one big paragraph with the numbers inside embedded in the paragraph. I just think this is easier to read and it's clearer. So all I did was reformat it for readability purposes, but I didn't see any need to change anything or add anything at this point.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
I'm going to motion to approve it.
Okay,
I, Thomas Golden, would motion to approve the format change to section 9-1.
okay, is there a second?
I,
I
Janet,
couldn't mean Bill second.
go for it.
Okay, thank you, Cleone. Any further discussion on section 9-1? Okay, Josh, roll call on this one?
Ed,
Yes?
Leonie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
thank you. The motion was approved.
Thank you. Okay, section 9.2 was prohibitions. These are specific activities that are prohibited. I read through them, didn't see anything that was glaring that needed to be changed or anything. So I left it pretty much as written, no changes.
I have a question on B.
Okay, the penalties.
Yeah, I was just, a person found to be in violation of this section shall be ineligible for a period of 5 years following such conviction to hold a city office or position. I just thought 5 years was an odd. Is that standard, 5
It
years?
is. Yep, it
Wow.
is. Yeah.
Right.
And I just caught a typo. It should say period of 5 years. For some reason, I don't see an of in there. Do you guys?
No,
All right, so we need to put that in there.
just seemed like a short time to me. I would say if you found violation, you should not be able to do it at all, but I guess if that's the standard.
Well, if you go back up and look at the violations, I don't think anyone is like imprisoned or anything like that. It's, discrimination, making a false statement,
Okay,
rendering, I guess, money, maybe a bribe or something like that, or participating in a political campaign. So 5
Right.
years is pretty standard, Janet.
okay. Hopefully they learn their lesson in that 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, then the only change is the insert of the word of in section 9(2)(b). Someone like to move to approve that?
Scott Pitta move to approve 9-2 with the amendment to paragraph B by inserting the word of.
I, Thomas Golden, will second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we'll need a roll call on this one. Yes,
Leonie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
thank you. The motion was approved.
okay, thank you.
Ed,
All
I
right.
said I wasn't going to do motions anymore. I failed you.
No, that's okay. We need to keep moving, so. By the way, technically, when we move to approve something, it becomes a motion, I guess, after it's approved. That's just a minor technicality. So we can keep doing what we're doing. I'm just saying that according to, if you want it to be, following Robert's rules exactly the way it's stated, we should be moving to approve, and then I move to approve or whatever. I second that, and then it becomes a motion. Okay, so sections 9-3 and 9-4 were reviewed by Steve. There was nothing that he found in section 3, which is campaign finance. This is all pretty standard verbiage. In fact, if you look at most of the charters across the state, this is standard language that's in most of the charters you'll find.
can I ask a question?
Yep.
In the public, on the section A, the last sentence where it says public disclosure pursuant to section 26 of chapter 55, is that of the MGL?
Yes.
Should MGL be in there? Because it's
Yeah.
in other places.
Yep. You're right. Should be.
Section MGL section 26 of chapter 55.
It's actually, we should say MGL chapter 55, section 26, I believe, right,
Okay.
Scott?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll just MGL Chapter 55. Oh, wrong. What the heck?
Right.
My arrows don't work because I have, there we go. Section 26.
That's all I had seen.
Whoops, there I go again. All right, so we changed this. I'll make that yellow.
Should the period be closer to the 26th?
You're right, there's a space in there. Okay, whoops.
Killing it, Janet.
What?
And in the chat, I put how it should look.
I don't see the chat. Is that up? Oh, right here, okay. Okay,
Oh, is that what that little symbol means, a section?
Yep.
Oh, is that how it is in the rest of the charter?
I'm not sure how we have it in the rest of the charter.
why isn't it letting me?
I mean, if the rest of the charter just says the word section, then, let's keep it the same with the rest of the charter.
Oh, no, I can't get into the chat again now. Why is that?
You
Because
hover
you're
on,
presenting your screen, I think will block.
if you hover on the bottom of the screen.
No, I mean, I was able to look at it and I copied it, but now when I go to paste it, the paste function's not working. So I'll come back and do that. I'll relook at that, but we know that we got to be consistent throughout the charter. I'll look at other instances of it and make it the same. So I got to add a period in here. Okay, that was A, subsection A, and subsection B is on spending limitations, contribution limitations. Steve didn't have anything to change there. Although let's see. There was a comment, but the comment from him is in the next section. So, okay. Someone like to move to approve the change we made in 9.3A.
Janet, move to approve the changes in section 9.3A.
I, Thomas Golden, second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we're approving changes to 9.3A. Roll call, please.
Ed,
Yes.
Leonie,
yes,
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, section 9.4. Steve also did this one. This is the charter revision or amendment process. The only thing that he did see was what I've got highlighted there in item B. It used to read, the review shall be conducted by a special committee to consist of 7 residents. Steve thought it would be better worded by just saying the review shall be conducted by a special committee consisting of 7 residents of the city appointed by the blah, blah, blah. And that was pretty much all he had on this entire section.
Scott Pidham move to accept Steve's proposed changes to 9-4B.
Thank you.
I, Thomas Golden, will second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we're approving changes to 9.4B.
Ed,
Yes.
Leonie,
yes,
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, Tom, you had sections 5 and 6. I'll let you do the talking.
Yep. So section 9.5, I had no changes. The severability thing. So
Okay,
do we need the motion to approve that? With that, so we're doing this right?
I don't think since we didn't make any changes, we're good.
Okay. I thought previously we had been, even if just approve it as is, but that's fine. 9.6B, I deleted some stuff that was not gender neutral because we had already motioned at Cleone's recommendation to make it gender neutral.
So you remove some stuff that was here. We can't see what you removed though, right?
Yeah, hold on, now I'm going to open it on my screen because I want to know why I can't see it. Stand by.
Well, I've turned off some markup things so we can read it easier.
That might be why.
I can put them back on though.
Hold on. So before it said, after singular, it said, and words imparting the masculine gender shall include feminine gender. So I just deleted that second half of that sentence.
Okay, it almost doesn't sound like like the sentence ends properly though. Words imparting the singular number may extend and be applied to several persons or things. Words imparting the plural number may include the singular. And then there should be a period, I guess, right?
Yeah, I would add the period there.
That's an odd state.
Actually, no, it should be a semicolon.
All right, because it's a continuation from up above.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that? I guess we're going to vote on it, but.
I mean, we could also leave it in there. I just figured since we already changed everything to be gender neutral, it was redundant.
Well, let's see, the title of B is number and gender. But now there's nothing in there that references gender.
So should we just get rid of and gender at the beginning too? So it should say number dash words imparting blah blah blah.
I would say, yeah.
Yes. Yep, good call.
So we're going to remove and gender and the rest of what Tom had removed, and it's going to read number hyphen words imparting the singular number may extend and be applied to several persons or things. Words imparting the plural number may include the singular. Semicolon.
Yep.
Okay.
So then in 9.6C in the second row there where it says Commonwealth of Massachusetts, after Massachusetts, there's an extra space in there, Ed, but that's probably because it originally just read laws of the Commonwealth and Commonwealth was lowercase. So I changed it to Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Okay. Okay.
And then down in D, on the second row, if 7 days, because it was a numeric 7 before, and if it's less than 10, it's generally you write out the word 7. So I wrote out the word 7. And then the same deal in the last row.
7 shouldn't be capitalized.
Yeah. It should not.
I don't think so, right?
It shouldn't, no.
No.
No. Yep.
On both lines.
Yep. That's from the delete, I think, when it copies over.
Okay.
And what was my comment? I have to read this. Huh? And then my comment was to the last clause. If more than 7 days, every day shall be counted. And my comment was just that I'm not sure we needed this since we specify the differences in other sections. So
What other section?
I'd have to go look because I don't have it in the comment bubble. But again, it doesn't matter. It was just redundant from earlier in the charter, so I'm also fine leaving it. I didn't delete it because I had left it as a comment with a question. It reads better if we leave it in.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if you take it out and somebody has a question, then they have to go try and find where else it is. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
I've got another question on this. What's day one? Is it the day of the event or is it the next day? So if something gets passed at 11 p.m. At a town council meeting, is that day one? And then an hour later becomes day 2? Or do we want to make it day 1 starts on the next business day?
Where is the term day one?
Well, it says computation of time. So you're talking about computing time as far as number of days for something to happen, 30-day limit, whatever it is. We need to know where we start counting.
So
Okay,
so you just want to add a sentence that after D, Scott, that says time shall start the following business day.
Yeah, the first day shall be
The day of the decision or something?
the first shall begin at midnight following the decision. Something to that effect.
That makes sense to me.
I mean, this is how, should I represent it this way? On the day of the decision?
Day
On the
following
day
the decision.
following the triggering event, whatever that triggering event would be. Or instead of triggering event, I don't know, I'm trying to figure a way to use the word commencement in there.
Adoption following.
The day following the event. Yeah, no, I got nothing better than what I've got up there already.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's good. I mean, it's clear as to what we're trying to get across. We can always come back later and change it with another vote at some other point. Okay,
What are the I'm gonna be stupid. What are the general laws? Mental block here. By the general laws. What general laws are we referring to?
Massachusetts.
Okay. Now, I don't know what would be correct. Should general laws be capitalized in C? Or is that proper the way it's written?
well,
Yeah.
I guess we should be consistent. If we're going to say general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we should probably say the same thing here, right?
Yeah, I think if we want to be technical, they should both say Massachusetts general laws.
Oh, that's good.
Oops.
And Janet, no, that was not a dumb question. That was an excellent question.
Okay, thank you.
That was an excellent catch.
Okay, so we've changed it in C and we've changed it in D to be consistent.
Just want to pause here for 1 second. I want to look at something.
I've got a feeling that's not consistent throughout the charter.
Well,
That may
maybe that's an action item for next meeting is somebody can go through and identify all the occurrences and make them all consistent.
yeah. My thought was that's something for the second, as we do our second voting.
Yep. All right, I've noted that as a follow-up.
And the Mass General Law section thing. To see
Right.
how we write section.
Right, so it's terminology.
Yeah, it's wildly inconsistent in the 43 instances in the charter.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that's what I thought.
that's good. We can make that consistent then. Okay.
So yeah,
good.
Janet, that was a wonderful catch. then.
Yeah, good discussion.
Oh, get a point.
Okay, anything else from you, Tom?
That's it.
All right, so Josh, we're going to approve, well, someone will move to approve all the changes that we discussed in section 9-6.
Okay.
So someone want to move?
I, Scott Pitta, move to adopt the proposed changes to 9-6.
Is there a second?
I, Janet, second the changes to 9-6.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, Josh, we need a roll call to approve changes to 9-6.
Ed,
Yes,
Leone,
yes,
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
okay. So sections 9-7 and 9-8 were Janet's. The document that Janet sent me had some questions that were appended to the actual charter language. So what I did was I put comments to the side here, but they're really Janet's comments, okay? So they were embedded here so that we can see them all. So Janet, I'm going to let you talk through these. Hopefully I've captured them the way you intended them to be, written.
okay. I wasn't sure in that section where you see the red "the" if it should be, I didn't know what the correct wording should be. Should it be or the? I think it originally was
The.
the. And I might have been overthinking it. I just was like, oh, which way should it be? Does it make it different if you do it the versus a?
I think the, to me anyways, if I read it the, it's more specific to the period. Whereas if you say a period, it's more generic or general.
Mhm.
So to me, it sounds better the way it's written as,
With the,
yeah.
that's fine with me. It was one of those things where you read it and like, it sounds all right either way, but it could change it by what you do. And notwithstanding, that's all one word, right?
Okay, so we're going to leave leave it as the existing the.
Correct.
Okay, so let me take that out. Let me take,
I think with the word "the" in there, it should be the period of 6 months following the conviction. Or you could just say for 6 months, for the 6 months following.
wait a minute.
Yeah, we can leave the period in there. That's fine. But I think we need to define the period of 6 months. Well, which period of 6 months? Yeah, there's going to be somebody that, if they're dumb enough to be a convicted felon in that position, then they're going to come out and argue, well, the period of 6 months was the period of 6 months that I was from the time I got arrested. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's shave the hairs off the words and put in the 6 months following the conviction.
Okay. So if the official is absent from the duties for the period of 6 months following the conviction, should it be a comma here or not? No,
It wasn't before.
no, right.
I would put a comma in there, I think.
I agree.
Okay. I like that, Scott. That's,
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
it closes a little gap that wasn't, that we didn't see. So that's good.
Mhm.
That's my job, is to try to figure out what dumb arguments people are going to try to use to get around the statute.
That's right.
Yep.
Want to remove any loopholes we can, right?
Mhm.
We're going to try and do. They're pretty good at finding loopholes. So.
Okay, so we've got that one. Janet, you want to continue?
Yeah, on, I didn't see anything wrong with one. If somebody else does, feel free to comment. Number two, I was a little confused, and sometimes I may overthink things, but it says before the appointing authority, and my question was, who is the appointing authority? Because the section is about the city manager is appointing the official. So should that be city manager, or just keep it appointing authority? Because this section is about the city manager appointing.
Well, the section is about removing members of multiple
that
member
too,
appointed
right.
bodies. And there are two appointing bodies. There's the city manager and the city council. So for example, we were all appointed by the city council. So I think you brought up a good point. What I did was I went up and added a definition of appointing authority. Bring us up to that. So this is the definition I put in. Any official or group of officials having legally designated powers of appointment, employment, or removal from a specific department, board, commission, division, or other agency of the city.
Yeah, then I guess I was questioning it because the first line just says an official appointed, it talks about an official appointed by the city manager. But it doesn't mention anybody else in that paragraph. So I didn't know if it mattered that you're going from city manager to now a generic appointing authority. If it's fine, I'm not an authority on any of this, so I just was wondering. It says official appointed by the city manager. It doesn't say by appointing authorities or city manager or town council. It just says city manager. So I was just wondering if that,
So you're saying that
Okay.
maybe this we could have gone two ways on this. We could have just replaced appointing authority with city manager,
or added town council up top.
or added town council up top, or do what I did and just add a definition for appointing authority. And we could change this up here to say an official appointed by an appointing authority.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was noticing, that it kind of,
Yeah, it was unclear.
I don't know what other people's thoughts are.
I like it better with replacing city manager with appointing authority. Because then that makes it clear that it's not just the multiple member bodies appointed by the city manager that this applies to.
yeah, I think
All right,
that's
so-
what it was getting at. It didn't match.
So we're going to remove the city manager. We're going to replace that with appointing authority. And we can go back up and look at the definition again and make sure everybody's okay with the definition. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
Ed, does there need to be a
Can-
period after the word the city at the bottom?
Yep. Thank you.
Sorry. Yep. But other than that, yes.
Okay. Why don't we just approve this definition and then we can go back down and approve the other changes. So would someone
Should
like
we,
to? Yep.
under a point, should we add committee to that?
Where? Oh, committee?
Yeah, as just one of the options, specific department, board, commission, committee,
Yep.
division.
Yep. That's good. That clarifies it even more. Okay. All right. Would someone like to move to approve this new definition we've added?
I, Thomas Golden, motion to approve the addition of the term appointing authority and the accompanying definition.
Okay. Is there a second?
I,
like
Jan,
Scott.
oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You've been all over this. You deserve it.
I, Janet, approve the definition, adding the definition of appointing authority. Is that what we're voting on?
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Josh, we need a roll call on adding this definition of appointing authority.
Hey, Ed,
Yep.
Cleone,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved. And Ed, did it need to be specified in a section?
It's up in the definitions section,
Definitions.
under definitions. Yep. If you want to add that, you can.
Yep.
Okay, going back down to 9.7, we made some changes here. We removed city manager, replaced city manager with appointing authority. We added following the conviction after the 6 months here.
I had a question.
Yeah.
It says here may be removed from office by the city manager. Do we need to now change that to the appointing authority, or are we deliberately splitting that role?
It almost seems like we need to replace every occurrence of city manager and replace it with appointing authority.
That was my thought as well.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Cleone, for catching that.
Yeah. And for item 2, we need a comma. Within 14 days of delivery of the notice, comma, the appointed official may request a public hearing.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Okay. Why don't we approve these separately, because I think there's more coming. So someone want to move to approve the changes in the first paragraph of section 9.7.
I, Janet, how do I say it?
Make a motion.
I, Janet, make a motion to approve the changes in section 9-7, the first paragraph.
Okay, is there a second?
Hi, Thomas
I,
Golden will
Cleone,
second.
second.
Okay, thank you, guys. Any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we're approving the changes to the first paragraph in section 9(7).
Okay. Ed,
Yes,
Leone,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
okay. All right, moving down, now we can, would someone like to move to approve the change made to 9(7)(2), which was adding
a comma.
a comma?
I, Janet, motion to approve the changes to 9-7(2) for adding a comma.
I,
Scott.
Cleone Mayville.
I assume she said second it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a fair bet.
I did. Sorry about that.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we're approving changes to 9(7)(2).
Okay. Ed,
Yes,
Leone,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
okay, thank you all. All right, let's go down to number 5.
yeah, I already got my question answer on appointed authority, but it said by a majority vote, and I was confused as to who is voting, because reading further down, I just, by a majority vote by who? Because further down, you've got city council in sections 6 through 10, but it's who's voting in 5.
I would think the appointing authority, right? It says here, within 10 days after the public hearing is adjourned, the appointing authority may, by a majority vote, remove the appointed official for good cause.
So if it's just the city manager, in that case, there's only one vote?
Yeah. I guess he's really not, the manager's really not voting. It's just the appointing authority.
Because down further, now they talk about town council, because I had to read this section a few times because I'm reading it, okay, the person can appeal and they go through all these steps, and then there's another appeal. So I thought maybe it was confusing to me, and then I figured, oh, it must be that once you get the first one out of the way, then if you want, you can go further down, and this time the town council, city council, is involved. So that's where I got hung up on who's voting in number 5.
Well, maybe we say the city, within 10 days, let's see. I think 1 through 6 is the notice of removal, right? So as you said, there's 2 different hearings. The first hearing is if intent to remove. It says here in number 1, a written notice of intent to remove and the statement of the reason shall be delivered by mail. Within 14 days of the notice, the appointed official may request a hearing before the appointing authority. The appointed official fails to request the hearing, the appointed official shall be discharged forthwith.
Hate
The
that
appointed
term.
official may be represented by counsel at the hearing, shall be entitled to present evidence, call witnesses, and examine any witnesses appearing at the hearing. Within 10 days after that hearing is adjourned, now this is the hearing to remove, the appointing authority may, by a vote, remove the appointed official for good cause. Then after the fact, once they're removed, then there can be another hearing. And it's the second hearing that the city council specifically gets involved.
So I guess I was just confused as to who
Yeah,
the appointing authority is. I know we have the definition, but who in town are appointed authorities besides city manager and city council?
right now there are two appointing authorities.
And it seems a bit redundant if it's a multi-member body that's appointed by the town councils. Let's take, for example, our committee. Yeah, it would be written notice, a request for a public hearing before the town council. Then they have a vote and they decide they want to remove me, so they kick me out. So then I request another hearing before the town council. Seems a bit redundant in there.
Yeah,
Just in that instance. And then the other side of it is if it's a hearing before the town attorney, that's,
If you read number 10, that one is like the final thing. Within 10 days after the public hearing is adjourned, the city council may by 2/3 vote reinstate the appointed official, but the appointed official should otherwise be removed if they don't. So that's why I was kind of confused, because I'm reading along. Okay, it makes sense, 1 through 6, but I was like, who's the majority, who's voting? Because it doesn't actually specify who's voting, because then you go down and they're talking about city council, which is a whole different, it's worded a little different on how they, that one's like the final decision.
yeah.
It can
seems like
end after 6. It can end after 6 if the person decides not to pursue it, but otherwise then they go on further. So it's like they're going before the town council twice.
Yeah, if it's a town council appointed group, multi-member body, then yeah, it would be before the town council twice, which seems a little odd. And then, for 1 through 5, you'd have the town manager conducting a hearing as the only person with a vote in the hearing.
it almost seems like we need to have two subsections within this area here, that in one pertains to the city manager doing the removal, and the other is the town council doing the removal. Because the way this was originally written, it was originally written that the city manager is the one initiating the removal initially, right? So this process is specific to the city manager initiating a removal of someone.
Right. That's
And that's, and as written to do that, I think it was fine. But then you have another process that comes after, maybe separate from this, that pertains just to the city council. And in that case, they're only going to vote once, right? Well, maybe not. Maybe they're going to vote. There's still the intent to remove. So they're going to have a vote on the intent to remove. And then if they do the removal, then the person can come back and request another hearing after they've been removed. And then the city council will have to vote a second time to either reinstate them or remove them or keep them removed.
I don't,
What?
I'm not a fan of the two vote, the two hearing process on there. I think if you have a hearing before the town council, the city council, and they remove somebody, then yeah, that's the way it should be. I do like the 2/3 vote requirement. I think if we just kept that portion of it, keep it one hearing with a 2/3 vote to remove, that would eliminate the political aspect of removing somebody from a committee. Let's say, there's somebody on the planning board who, somebody's trying to get something passed in town and they run the numbers and they're one vote short. And if they're able to get the town council to remove that one person, it just takes a majority of the town council. That's a lot easier than getting 2/3 of the town council. So I like the 2/3 requirement. I think that would be a good balance. Instead of having 2 hearings, 1 hearing with a 2/3 vote ensures a fair opportunity to be heard.
And when you look at 1 through 6 and then 7 through 9, it says the exact same thing with the exception of 7 says city council instead of appointing authority. But otherwise, everything's the same until you get to number 10. So that's why I don't understand why, what the difference is between the 2 sections.
Yeah, I mean, we could break it down as 9-7A is 1 through 5. And those would be removal of a member of a multi-member body appointed by the city manager.
Yeah.
And then 9-7B, and start with 6 would be renumbered. Actually, sorry, 7 would be renumbered to 1, right?
To be an official
Or-
appointed by the town council.
Sorry, no, we would redo number 1, a written notice of intent to remove and statement for the reasons would become number 1 again,
Right.
and then continue with the town, city council language with just 1 hearing and a 2/3 vote to remove. Does that make sense, Ed?
Well, so I guess the way it's written right now, though, it's assuming the city manager, right, is going to remove someone. And it's a 2-step process. The first step is the town manager issues a removal of intent. And that process moves forward, and there's a hearing, and
It goes to the city manager first, and then it can go to the town council, which means that we can keep the original paragraph as city manager in those spots instead of appointing authority,
Right.
which leads me still to who's voting in that majority vote.
that one, number 5?
Yeah.
That's the town council.
All right, so the town council is in there twice. Well, that's where I was confused because it didn't really mention who's voting.
Well, see, the thing is, if a removal is initiated by the city manager, then it's a 2-step process. It's the city manager does the city manager's work first, and then the town council has to vote on it. If the removal is initiated by the town council, then the city manager has no involvement, and it's a simpler process. Then it's only 7 through 10. So Scott, I like what you were getting at. I'm just wondering, I think the first process, though, where it's initiated by the city manager goes through all 10 steps.
Yeah,
But if it's initiated by the city council, it only goes through steps 7 through 10.
yeah, I'd agree with that.
So maybe what we do is offline, somebody rewrite this. And we can bring it back for the next meeting for approval.
On 5, because I'm stuck on the majority vote, is there a way of would it be all right to put majority vote by the town council? Or
Sure. Yeah, that would be fine.
then it identifies who's actually voting?
Yep.
Because I didn't know who was voting. All of a sudden, there's a majority vote by who?
Ed, can you scroll up for a second
Sure.
to the previous page? That's good. Okay, you can go back.
So actually, step one happens in both both procedures, right? If the city council is going to remove one of us, then it would make sense that they would issue a written notice of intent to remove one of us. Then within 14 days of the delivery of the notice, any of us could request a public hearing.
Before this, are you talking
Before-
about the city council? You're talking about,
Before the city council, right, because they appointed us. If we fail to request the hearing,
we're out the door.
then we're out the door. If we have a hearing, we could be represented by counsel. Within 10 days after the hearing is adjourned, the council may, by a majority vote, remove for good cause. And then it's done. It's right. I mean, because you're not going to come back after the fact now. It says here, within 14 days of the notice, the appointed official, meaning one of us, may request another hearing.
It's a notice of, the first one is a written notice of intent to remove and a statement of reasons therefore, of why you want to be removed. And then number 7 is within 14 days of the delivery of the notice. And I'm assuming that means the notice of decision from number 6. So it's like you have an appeal process,
Yeah, but
a double appeal process.
you wouldn't. I understand doing that if the city manager initiated it, then you would go to a higher level body for the second round of hearings. But if the town council is initiating it, there's no one higher to go to,
Right. That's why I personally was confused by this whole section.
right? If you guys want, I'd be happy to take a look at rewriting this for the next meeting. And Scott, I can send a draft to you if you want to review it.
Yeah, that works. Why don't you and I take a look at it?
Yeah.
See what we can come up with and try to make it make sense and then present it at the next meeting.
All right. So the action item is that Scott and Ed are going to rewrite section 9.7 for further discussion at our next meeting. Okay.
And I just had a comment on the last paragraph of that section, which isn't numbered. It was so wordy to me. First off, I think it originally said nothing. I forget now, was
So I
nothing.
think it said nothing is in this section, I think.
No, it said nothing is this section. I think the word and nothing in, it should remove the is and, or keep is and put in, but in wasn't there. So I put in. I put in.
Okay, so nothing, it should read nothing in this section. Good. Okay.
And this section shall be construed as granting a right to a hearing when an appointed official who's been appointed to a fixed term is not reappointed when the appointed official's original term expires. There's a lot of appointed in there. So I put 2 suggestions of how to do it, but if it needs to be the way it's originally written, that's fine. Just needed to have the word in. But I put 2 different ways of saying it. So it's not so wordy. One was nothing in this section shall be construed as granting a right to a hearing when a fixed term appointed official is not reappointed when the official's original term expires. Or nothing in this section shall be construed as granting a right to a hearing when an appointed official who has been appointed to a fixed term is not reappointed when the official's original term expires. It's just so wordy. But if legally it has to be written that way, then it's just the word in.
I like both of your paragraphs better. It's, it's a lot more concise.
Yeah, it's
I
just,
think I would get rid of the word original. Just because that's a limiting term. If somebody gets appointed for 1 term and then they get appointed for a 2nd term,
yeah,
and then they don't get reappointed after their 2nd term, they could argue that this paragraph doesn't apply because their 2nd term is not their original term and that they therefore have a right to a hearing.
yeah, that's fine. Didn't think of that. I just was looking at all the appointed.
Yeah, that's how I would argue it if I was representing them. but
Yeah, that's fine with me, whichever of the two, or somebody has a better way of rewording it. I just, instead of saying an appointed official has been appointed to a fixed term, just say a fixed term appointed official.
yeah, I like your second paragraph there, just striking the word original.
Yeah, simple's better. So you're saying take this out?
Yep.
I'm going to
So-
remove the comment because it hides the highlighting. Hold on a minute. Okay, so if we just look at this one here,
Yeah, I'd actually like to move for the second paragraph to replace,
oh, the one down the bottom?
yep, her second version minus the word original at the end there.
You
So
like the way,
I'll make that as a motion if I can get a second.
Let me change it. Let me change it first so everybody can see it.
so you like the way an appointed official has been appointed to a fixed term rather than saying it the other way, a fixed term appointed official?
Yeah,
All right, so this is what the one you like minus original.
yes. And I'll move for that language to replace the existing language.
Don't forget a period at the end of expires.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so Josh, we're approving the last paragraph in section 9.7 as amended.
Ed,
Yes,
Bailey,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
There it is. Yes,
Thank you. The motion was approved.
do you want to get rid of my first paragraph there or just leave it? You know,
I'm gonna leave it as we're taking this out and replacing it with the yellow.
okay.
Okay, very good, Janet.
I didn't
Raise some-
see anything in 9.8.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty simple. Posting of documents. It just says posted to the city's official website, which is what we want, right? Yeah, okay, good.
I had one question. I think you ended up putting a definition in because I said in sections 4-3 powers of appointment, there's no mention of the word official. So I was wondering what an official is in this section because it does mention official in this section, obviously.
I did. I went up and looked at city officer and determined that, yeah, I think it would make sense to have a definition for city officials. So this is the definition I added. All employees, consultants, agents, and others who work for or with the city at all times while on or in city property, whether on duty or off duty, and contractors and vendors in their personnel when engaged in work for or business with the city. So the difference between an officer and an official is that officers are required to take an oath of office. You can see that in the definition here. All officers are officials, but not all officials are officers. So that's the distinction.
What do we consider? Because we took an oath.
Yeah, so we are officers. It says here, an individual who's been elected or appointed to exercise functions of a city office for the benefit of the public. The office that we're filling is the Charter Review Committee function. They're distinguishable from other employees in that they are required to take an oath of office.
So in section 9.7, when it's talking about an official,
Let's go down and look at that now.
are they talking about us as officers or are they talking about the definition that you have?
Let's find out where did you see that? Official,
Right from the start, an official appointed by the city manager. then the appointed officials can, you know, the whole thing is about removal of a member of a multi-member appointed body, and they use the word official.
Right, so an official is not an officer. An official goes by the definition that I added.
So that would mean somebody that takes an oath then, right?
No, an official doesn't take an oath. An officer takes an oath.
Right. So it's just talking about those. Okay.
It's just talking about officials. So employees, consultants, agents, others who work for the city. I mean, Scott and I can include this in our discussion when we're looking at that whole section. If you'd like, we can certainly do that.
Okay.
But I think it was a good question because it's a little fuzzy. Is there a difference between an officer and an official or a city official? And yes, there is a difference. Officers are officials, but not all officials are officers. So do we want to approve this definition as written right now, or do we want to wait and do that next time? Any thoughts?
I mean, if we approve it now, we can change it later, right?
Yep.
I mean, Thomas called the motion to approve the definition as is.
Okay. Is there a second?
Hi, Janet, second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we are approving the addition of the city official definition as written.
Ed,
Yes.
Leonie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay.
And not,
Okay. Go
sorry,
ahead, Janet.
not to beat a dead horse here, but multi-member body by definition is any board or commission or committee in the city. It's, yeah, any board, commissioner, and if you take an oath, then that makes you an officer, not an official. And then this section is about removing an official that's
No,
multi-member.
Officers are officials. Officials aren't officers, yes.
All right. Sorry. Back and forth.
Okay, that was it for section 9. However, I added a whole new section 9.9, and I'll explain what I've done here. It's been concerning to me that whenever there's a question about the charter, if somebody says, well, somebody may not be following it, or, you know, whatever the question might be, it always ends up with the town attorney. And to me, because the town council is the legislative branch of our government, that the first review of any questions regarding the charter should go to the town council. And they should take ownership of that. And if they need opinion from the town attorney, then they will seek that opinion. So I put a section in here called Enforcement of Charter Provisions. And I'll just read to you what it says. It shall be the duty of the council president to see that the provisions of the charter are faithfully followed and complied with by all city agencies and city employees. Whenever it appears to the council president that any city agency or city employee is failing to follow any provision of this charter, the council president shall, in writing, cause notice to be given to such agency or employee directing compliance with the charter. If it shall appear to the city council that the council president personally is not following the provisions of the charter, it shall, by resolution, direct the attention of the council president to those areas in which the council members believe there is a failure to comply with the charter provisions. The procedures made available in chapter 231A of Mass General Law, maybe you, I didn't, and I can change that to be consistent with what we come up with, may be used to determine the rights, duties, status, or other legal relations arising under this charter, including any question of construction or validity which may be involved in such determination. So this chapter of Mass General Law specifically is entitled Procedure for Declaratory Judgment. So this basically means that it goes to the judicial branch of government to resolve, any disputes. To me, what this does is it gives someone the authority to enforce charter provisions. Right now, no one knows whose job it is to enforce charter provisions because it's not spelled out in the charter. Now, I looked to see if this language is in other charters in other towns, and I did find it. In fact, this one here is language that, for the most part, comes from the city of Winthrop. So I didn't sit down and write this from scratch.
I figured that.
If I did, I'd be an attorney, right?
You'd be a very bored attorney.
So I'm interested to know your thoughts on whether we need something like this. And if we do you think this covers all the bases? Maybe, maybe not. I guess one concern might be that the council president, it's the duty of the council president. Maybe some people might not like that, but it's gotta go with someone. Someone's got to be accountable so that when somebody's not following the charter, somebody has to be responsible for dealing with that. It's not the town attorney's job to ensure that the charter is being followed properly. The town attorney's job is to interpret the charter, but not to ensure enforcement of the charter.
Yeah, I think the overarching theme here is a good idea, to put ownership on the council president, make them responsible for making sure that the charter is followed. The issue that I have is with the concept of the town council president issuing any sort of a directive or notice or anything directly to a town employee. I think that directive or notice should go to the town manager in the case of an employee. If it's in the case of a multi-member body of the town, another board, committee, or commission, regardless of whether they're appointed by the town manager or by the town council, I think there it's entirely appropriate.
Would you have any problem with if we said supervise, like giving notice to be given to such agency, or I was going to say the supervisor?
I think anything involving a town employee under the direction of the town manager, from anyone on the town council, needs to go to the town manager.
So you're saying replace employee? No, because that, it says in writing, cause notice to be given to such agency or employee via the town manager?
Yeah, that would work.
Or the city manager. Directing compliance with the charter. That's a good point.
I think at that point, then you can have you'll have the discussion from there as to whether or not the charter was being violated. And that's where the interpretation of the town attorney would come in.
Right.
And then if there's still a disagreement, then the declaratory judgment is the proper way.
Yep. Okay.
which is essentially what we went through in 2011.
Right. Yep. With the recall, right?
Yeah, that whole process, who has what authority and what does the charter say? Town manager said one thing, town council said another, town manager agreed with the town council, or with the town attorney agreed with the town manager, and it went to the judge.
Do you think, Scott, we need to put something in here that explicitly says or mentions the town attorney or not, or that's just a given? Verification of compliance or something. Because it says whenever it appears to the council president that any city agency or employee is failing to follow the provision of the charter.
Yeah, I hate to say that something is a given. What seems obvious to you and I may not seem obvious to others. Where would be an appropriate place to
well, we could say we could say something like whenever it appears to the council president that any agency or employee is failing to follow provisions of this charter, the council president shall, at that point, say, shall verify with the town attorney and in writing cause notice to be given.
What's the question? Do you want the town council president to go to the town attorney first and get an opinion before issuing any sort of notice?
Well, I mean, it's
if I were the council president, that's what I would do. I
right.
wouldn't issue the notice until I knew I had the town attorney on my side.
Right. Yep.
So that seems like a logical first step.
All right, so maybe we insert a sentence right here, which says it shall be the duty of the council president to see that provisions of the charter are faithfully followed and complied with by all city agencies and city employees. So we put something in here to, I don't know, to verify with the town attorney because it's.
I thought it would go, let's see, whenever it appears to the council president that any city agency or city employee is failing to follow any provision of this charter, the council president shall, and I think the town attorney would go there.
Okay, let me do this. Shall consult with the town attorney.
Right. That's where I think it would go.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of all the different aspects here because I know, I mean, the issue we had in 2011 was the political perceptions of members of the town council were that there was the town attorney had aligned with the town manager politically.
Right. Yeah.
And there were perceptions on the other side as well. And we want to eliminate those perceptions if we can.
Okay, so what do we say here? It's the council president shall consult with the town attorney to verify or to validate.
I'm wondering if that's the appropriate first step, or if we want to leave the authority with the council president to just notify the town manager. I'm not sure. I'm really curious to hear what other folks have to say, because the upside to getting the town attorney or requiring the town attorney to agree, or are we going to require the town attorney to agree with the town council president before notice can be given? What happens if the town attorney doesn't agree with the council president?
Yeah, right.
Then what? Does the council president just have to eat it? But they really believe the charter is being violated. What's the next step? Is that when the declaratory judgment comes in?
You're right.
Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, I'm almost feeling now that maybe we just leave it as written.
Yeah. It gets a little complex.
I mean, if the council president has any doubt about what he or she is seeing, then they would discuss it at a council meeting, probably, or discuss it with the town attorney.
Should. I mean, that's what a reasonable person would do.
Yep.
But we don't always have reasonable people, or we have reasonable people who, for whatever reason, do something that is unreasonable. So it does happen. And sometimes you just have reasonable people that disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Ed, this may be one of the ones that I see we're coming up on almost 7:30 here, and we're almost at the end. I think this is another one that needs to be chewed on a little bit.
okay. I know it's new, so we've just discussed it. So why don't we include this in the review for next meeting? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
I think the idea is good, just need to probably tweak it.
okay, great. All right, so then the last thing here was Article 10, which is very short right now. This was meant when the charter was put in initially back in 2011 to make sure that nothing was going to fall through the cracks during the transition from the old form of government to the new form. So the one piece that I think needs to come out here is the appointed position of city clerk will be created at the expiration, because we're saying that we want to keep it elected.
Yeah, that's, I saw that, and on my own paperwork, I highlighted it to delete it.
Yeah, so the only thing that would be in here would be what's remaining there is this charter shall become fully effective upon ratification by the voters as provided for by it'll be Mass General laws. And the rest of it will be removed. The comma comes out. Okay?
Yep.
So somebody want to make a move that we will amend section 10:1 as written?
I, Janet, move to have section 10-1 as written.
I, Thomas Golden, will second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Josh, we're voting on 10:1 as written. Roll call, please.
Ed,
Yes.
Leonie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
All right, that concludes the charter review for tonight. Cleone, I know you're going to be dropping shortly. Any public comment? I don't see anyone else has joined. Action items for our next meeting. I'm going to go through and look at all the occurrences of Mass General Law and ensure that we are consistent throughout on how we want to represent that terminology. Scott and I are going to review section 9.7 and rewrite that as necessary, as well as section 9.9. Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for 2 weeks, which is the 31st of March. We will conclude the follow-ups. And then what we'll do is we'll go back now and start looking at the decision matrix and make sure that we've captured all of the inputs that we want to include from the citizen survey, the public forum, and the employee questionnaire. A lot of those we've already included, but there are some that we have not, so we'll have to discuss those. Okay?
yep.
Yeah.
I just said okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
My bad.
So anyone have any further discussion before we adjourn? And I think it's been a good meeting and I appreciate all your input. We're making some great progress here, so thank you all. I will entertain a move to adjourn the meeting.
Hi,
Scott,
Thomas
move to
Golden,
adjourn.
motion to move to adjourn the meeting.
Hi, Scott Pitt, a second.
Thank you, Scott. All right, any further discussion? Josh, we're going to roll call for adjournment, please.
Ed,
Yes,
Leoni?
she left.
Oh, she left. Okay. Tom,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved. Meeting's adjourned.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care. Happy spring.
Yeah.